copycats are a concern.
News 10 NBC on the radio. Weekdays at 5 a.m., noon, 5, 6, and 11 on the WYSL stations.
Mira a la izquierda, mira a la derecha. ¿Qué ves? ¿Dónde estás? In a world that seems to change daily, what will you do next? Welcome to the Next Steps Show with Peter Vasquez, a starting point for discussion y un poco de dirección. Buenas tardes, ladies and gentlemen. Yep, soy yo, tu conservative Nuyorican, aquí on the Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty. Sí, y hoy por seguro tengo the king of the queso, sí, the head honcho, la voz de libertad himself, señor Roberto Crageg Savaje. ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien. Is a tango, something tango? Does that mean I'm the king of the castle?
Yeah, kinda. Well, what I said was that I'm here again, and I have the king of the castle. Tango is I have.
Tango I have. Okay.
Tener is to have. Tango is I have.
All right.
The whole conjugation stuff.
So now you know doing a tango, with a rose in my teeth.
No roses in your teeth, please. At least not during the Next Step Show.
You.
No, I'm not going to have a rose in my teeth. You know what, though? That sounds like something that I would do on Valentine's Day for the wife.
With a lovely Chris.
I'll
yes,
show up over at the Hall of Justice, right up front there in front of those big old windows, serenading her.
I could see you swinging her around and giving her the big, deep dip there,
Big, deep dip. Yep. And on that big, deep dip note...
Yeah,
we can go in a lot of places
there.
with it. Yeah, you like that. Hey, you know what today is?
No.
Well, today is National App Day.
App? Like apps on your phone?
Like applications on your phone. Yep. So it wasn't until 2007's launch of the iPhone and the 2008 debut of the App Store that these apps became popular. It's funny. We really do have a day for everything. Keith, I really appreciate, I got to give him another kudos there, Senor Bob, because I almost didn't do this much anymore. And, as I look these things up, I learn something new every day. Check this out. When the app stores first launched, there was only about 500 apps, right? Now there's over 3.5 million apps.
I think I've got 3.4 million on my phone.
Yeah, same here. But listen, if that doesn't... if that doesn't attract your attention on National App Day, check this out, right? Mobile e-commerce sales are expected to reach 4.5 trillion by the end of this year. 4.5 trillion.
Good for the economy, as we all know.
I think we need an app. The Next Step Show.
A nap or an app?
Well, a little bit of both.
I could use a nap. I've been here since 3 a.m.
But people spend an average of 4.8 hours daily on mobile apps, just in case you cared or didn't know. That's an important fact, because looking at our education system, looking at some of the test scores that we have in this state, and aside from the fact that we have an issue in our education system, we have a lot of kids spending a lot of time and they're not learning a lot of historical facts, like historical facts about Leroy, New York.
Well, what you have to do is you have to have teachers who are interested, history teachers who are actually interested in history, which used to be the case. They used to have a connection with history. They loved history. That's why they wanted to teach it. But now, they want to teach you that the history is all about oppression.
Well, that's what I was thinking as you were saying that there are history teachers that love history. I've met a bunch of them. They just all happen to be like really progressive left individuals. Ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000. See our toll free 866-552-1009. I want to talk a little bit about the last couple of shows and really on Friday's show. On Friday's show, I had, and we're not going to talk about it this whole show, I promise. But I had a city council individual, the vice president, actually. I think some of the work she's doing is phenomenal. And the thing is this, I talk a lot about, leaving the R's and D's behind. And I want to clarify, because I think Keith is mistaking that based on his call. And I got an email from a listener, Al. Thank you, Al, for the email, who was explaining how this is really an issue of a spiritual battle. And both of them are right. And see, the thing is this, though, Bob. The election's over. right? Trump won the White House, and you've got everybody on the left saying we're going to fight Trump at every tooth and nail, and you got everybody on the right saying where we didn't win, we're going to fight tooth and nail. But my concern is the only people that get stuck in fights like that are people like you and me. You know, and I guess what my point is yes, it is a spiritual battle. Yes, we all stand firm in our politics. But once the election's over, we got to come back and find common ground somewhere. We've got to find a path forward amidst all the crap that's going on. Not to mention, if we're fighting, how are we righting the ship? Am I far off, Bob? I mean,
well, here's what the problem is. Coming together, you can't work with somebody, and you can't negotiate with somebody who hates everything that you represent. So unfortunately, it's kind of like the hypothetical where you got two people and they want to board the same plane, and one of them they're in Chicago, and one of them wants to go to New York and one of them wants to go to Orlando. Mm-hmm. And then they compromise. The only way you can compromise is to say, well, we'll both fly to Charleston, South Carolina, where neither one of us wants to go. That doesn't work. And that's kind of the political situation right now. I think what we have to do is we have to exercise a combination of federalism, where the people who want to live in blue states like New York live in the blue states, and they put up with or accept the crazy politics and policy that exists in those states. And the same people live in red states where they can get their way of life. And sooner or later, the people in the blue states take a look at the people in the red states and say, boy, life's a lot better there. So maybe we should not vote for idiots.
I like that, actually. I like that a lot. Although it seems like, that'll start a split in this nation into a blue nation and a red nation, because unfortunately, especially we see here in Monroe County, as many on the blue side, they lost rationale, Bob.
Right.
And they're never going to see the red sides.
Are you going to accept radical transgenderism? Are you going to accept wide open borders with criminals being imported, by the boatload, bringing in fentanyl and the dreck that comes out of foreign prisons?
But when you see a turnout like 70-30, Bob, in Pittsford, right, in favor of the Democrats, and that was they were anticipating that. It wasn't like a fluke, they were saying that's what. So in Pittsford, I have to believe that, yes, that's exactly what they want.
Well, let the lefties live in their communities. That's fine.
But see, Bob, I struggle with that, because I do believe that if we could find that middle of the road. Now, I loved your example about the middle of the road being a destination that no one wants to go. But the county legislature last night did something. And I posed this question to fellow Republicans and conservatives and asked them, was it a good thing or a bad thing that they unanimously passed this budget last night, right? Because as I look at it, I'm like, okay, wow, there was give and take, there was discussion, and at the end they ended up having a unanimous budget. Now there was a comment on one of the news stations that had posted the results of this vote, and someone said, wow, when they come together, there must be something wrong with this, because that's almost unlikely. That way of thinking, though, I struggle with that.
But the Republicans and Democrats came together? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, there was a unanimous vote on the budget last night.
I totally agree with that sentiment. If they come together, there's something wrong. Somebody's selling out. Because, look, here's the reality. You're talking about coming together, Peter, but we're not going to accept radical transgenderism and men in women's locker rooms, and your teenage daughter showering next to a man in the showers in an athletic, on a team in school. We're not going to accept military age people by the tens of thousands coming across the border, military age guys, without them being vetted and being dumped in places like our friends down in Alfred apparently are going to be encountering a whole bunch of new unvetted migrants. Yep. So if we're not going to accept that, and they're not going to accept Donald Trump and his programs of less government and more freedom, then we're not going to come together. But don't worry about Pittsford and their 70-30 turnout, because look at what happened on November 5th. All these former blue states, the key states, all went for Trump. Sooner or later, people wake up and they figure things out. So that you got to let that process just happen.
I don't disagree. However, when places like New York is led by people that are so staunch in their political beliefs, for example, a Siena College poll that shows that New Yorkers said they want to support President-elect Trump's deportation new policies, right? Hochul's still saying absolutely not. We're going to fight it.
Hochul will not get reelected.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are aquí en La Voz de Libertad con tu conservative Nuyorican Peter Vasquez, sí, and the honorable Señor Salvaje. We can't forget it, Señor D'Angelo. We'll be right back. Don't forget to call.
It is the Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty in Rochester. That's AM 1040, 92.1 FM, 95.5 FM. In Hornell, AM 1480, 92.1 and 106.9. Thanks for listening.
Frosty Snowman was alive as he could be, and the children say he could laugh and play just the same as you and me.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
I'm Carmen Leonardo, licensed associate real estate broker with RE/MAX Realty Group. With so many realtor choices today, what sets Carmen Leonardo apart? It's the value I provide. With Carmen Leonardo, you get nearly 20 years of experience, a highly skilled negotiator, certified pricing strategy advisor, and seller representative specialist. Each client feels like they receive my undivided attention. Thinking about buying or selling? Call or text Carmen Leonardo 585-233-4119.
Keep your vehicle in tip-top shape. For quality, affordable vehicle service, rely on Rock Auto Service. 1132 Westridge Road. Rock Auto has truck or SUV needs. Oil change, brakes, suspension, along air conditioning, and tires. Check their Google reviews as one of Rochester's best for customer satisfaction. Owner and U.S. Army veteran Dave Harris welcomes military service personnel and veterans. Rock Auto Service, 1132 Westridge Road, just east of Mount Reed, 434-5010.
Peter Vasquez and Next Step Show on the WYSL stations.
And proudly brought to you by Flower City Collision. Get it done right. Veteran-owned and operated. Rock City Auto, Westridge Road, near Mount Reed. Get that car all fixed up nice and safe for winter. Here's Peter.
Muchas gracias, senor. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out, right? Little fun fact on National App Day. TikTok users spend an average of 95 minutes per day on the app, surpassing most other platforms. Wow. Hey, China, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, to wave as you're on TikTok.
Yeah, as long as it's here.
So, as long as it's here. Bob, the whole sentiment of people leaving comments and saying, gee, with these two sides unanimously voting on this budget, there must be something wrong, and I don't disagree with you, actually. I mean, let's not forget, most people on the county legislators have been there for a while. Many of them are the same people that made promises way back during the COVID lockdowns that didn't keep those promises. And, and a lot of the people there, I wonder if they're really Republicans or not. So, I mean, whatever. But that's a whole nother show and a whole nother topic. The part that gets me, though, is this. See, and this is why I keep saying what I'm saying. But Bob, I have to assume you and I will probably never agree on this, right? But if we don't find common grounds, then those R's and those D's will always dominate the conversations, not leaving room for growth, right? And the problem is this. There's so much distrust in both the R's and the D's that
Distrust?
Distrust. No trust.
Distrust.
Is
that what you mean?
Yeah, what did I say? Distrust.
Yeah, I thought you said distrust. But,
okay, now you got to pick on my English. Okay.
No. I just want to make sure I got it right.
No,
go ahead.
Distrust. Yep, enunciating the E. So if we're still focused so much on those two initials, right, and what they mean, that we're always going to be fighting. There's never going to be a solution. People aren't going to buy into the fact that I just think this is funny that the $1.5 billion budget, which indicates or reflects a 5% increase in spending, but yet reducing property tax rates. I mean, how are we ever going to say we're comfortable and believe in that if it told us about Republican and Democrat? Because, I mean, that's pretty stellar bipartisan work there.
Let me ask you a question here. What's wrong with conflict between the Republicans and the Democrats, so long as it's civil?
But that's the problem, is that it's not civil.
Well, then that's
anymore.
got to change, and whoever's not being civil has to knock it off.
Well, I mean, the thing is this. I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, Bob, maybe you're smarter than me. It's pretty clear that there is no way we're going to increase a budget by 5% from the previous year and reduce property taxes without there being a cost somewhere else, like sales tax, like other fees and so forth. See? So the thing is this, it's gotten so bad, though, in my opinion, the whole distrust and the whole fighting, which really isn't for me and you, it's for whatever the heck it is they're fighting for over there, right? That's allowing for these kind of trickery things to happen. Where's the truth coming out? Where's the Republicans saying, hey, listen, you know what? There's not really a reduction in your taxes. It looks like it. And your property taxes may seem, but we're going to screw you on this side.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
And to try this, Peter, every time, the two sides, the two political opposing sides get together, who gets screwed?
Well, I mean, we do.
Yeah, it happens every single time, because what you're doing is you're short-circuiting that process whereby you have good ideas versus bad ideas. And what you do is you come up with some kind of lukewarm milquetoast solution that doesn't solve anything but just drives up costs. It's much better that we have creative chaos, I'm going to call it, where you have people debating these issues, and sooner or later, the better ideas will win out, because the better ideas are the ones who win for the taxpayers and the people who have to live and have to pay the bills. Look at New York State. This is a product of a one-party system. And when you're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats on the Monroe County Ledge getting together and doing stuff, what you're creating is a one-party situation.
Yes,
where the people who have elected these quote leaders unquote are the ones that never get a say. There's no lobbyist representing us. Our elected officials are selling us out.
So one of the things that the Republicans did was oppose in the proposal, right? There was a diversion of funds from the sheriff's office, the district attorney, the medical examiner to climate-related initiatives. They fought against that. It went away, and then they passed this whole budget that that they passed. But Bob, see, I guess I'm just stuck in this whole thing that politics isn't a solution. Yes, there's got to be a fight, right? I agree with that,
right.
But the fight's over.
Oh no, it's not. You're dreaming.
The fight's over in regards to this past year's elections. Now,
no, it's going on.
Oh, of course it's going on. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, 346-3000. What do you think? I mean, I get it. I'm way off here. Hey, let's change topics here real quick. Let's talk about Leroy, New York, because I think it's important that we highlight some of these phenomenal towns, right? Did you know that Leroy played a role in the anti-Masonic movement, which was the first third party in the United States history?
There's a lot of anti-Masonic stuff going on at one time.
Yeah. Actually, the first ever held national convention for that party was in 1831, and of course, Leroy played a big role in that as well, and in the abolitionist movement. So we have a legislature here locally. I heard that the clerk was even at that budget meetings last night. Apparently, I don't think she talked, from what I understand, but she was there. I mean, it's like kumbaya stuff.
By the way, let me tell you something. Our Gary Stout, executive producer of the Second Amendment Show, you hear him on the station all the time. He's here doing a couple things at the station right now as we speak.
I told him to pop in if he gets done early.
Yeah, that'd be great. So he had maybe he can, if he's got time, he can come and tell us about it. He had a good experience in the county clerk's office.
Oh,
this morning.
explain.
They were very. I'll let him tell you.
Oh.
The staff was very cooperative. He showed up for his appointment, and they were, there were some glitches with regard to his processing and application there, and they were very helpful and courteous, and so that's good news.
Yeah, well, that is good news. Hopefully that race, sparked some or shook things up enough for the current clerk to realize that maybe there should be a change there.
Well, think about this. Why all of a sudden the change in attitude there? I'm thinking that in some measure, it was the presence of Peter Vasquez rattling their cage continuously last year, telling them this needs to be cleaned up. Now, you didn't have the outcome you wanted, but maybe, again, that creative chaos thing we're talking about, you provided an incentive and impetus for them to clean up their act.
Right. Well, the outcome that I want is a better, more community focused county clerk's office. That's the outcome. And if the race is going to force them or shed light on an office that people weren't paying attention to before, then absolutely. But you see, that's what I mean, because we've got an individual sitting in there that at least up until recently, I don't know if it's changed, there seems to be indication that she may be paying attention now, but up until recently, it was all about the D and D policies in that office. And they can say they're not anti-guns or anything like that, but all their policies were so restrictive that, listen, as a Republican, I didn't want to go in there and deal with anything for any reason. I'd do it via mail if I could. But anyways, I know you're not going to agree on that one.
Why? No, listen, I do agree. I had bad experiences prior to you were arriving on the scene, Peter, and running against Jamie.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe I'm kidding myself here, but I like to think that they took a look around and said, this narrative is taking hold, so we need to clean up our act.
Yeah. House Oversight Committee. You know what that is?
Yeah.
But what is it?
It's a committee that provides oversight of what the House does.
In the feds, right? In our personal house, I think it's the spouse, right? In Congress, AOC wants to lead up that committee.
Rots a ruck.
Yeah. Listen.
I think anytime you have some Democrat who has absolutely no idea of what they're basically, all they've done is run for office, and once they're in office, make speeches. Anytime they want to actually, grab the wheel and try governing, I'm all in favor of that, because then we find out, what they're made of.
Absolutely. Actually, she's already talking about how she looks forward to really going and looking into the president-elect's administration.
Oh, absolutely. Go for it, AOC.
You know what I would have done differently? If I ever ran again, you know what I would do differently?
No.
I would not talk about the president-elect or the president. I think
Armando
from some people, and not really talking, and not that I focus just on wanted to focus on him. However, he's doing a lot of good things, and the fact that these people are coming after him. Armando, thank you for calling the Next Step Show, brother. It's been a while.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Good.
Armando, you got about a minute here. If we run out of time, can you hang through the break?
Yes,
okay.
I can.
All right, tell us what's on your mind.
Well, I'm listening, and Peter, you and I have had this conversation in the parking lot a couple times, and I'm going to bring it down to basic human nature. We are good and we are bad. So I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, or make up a name. It doesn't matter. People tend to do bad things, especially if there's money, personality, popularity, all these different
power.
There's the word. I'm glad you said it, because I hear that stupid word so much. And I'm thinking to myself, what power do you have over me? Why do you want that power over me? That's what's driving so many of these Democrats to become evil. They want something over you. and it comes from your paycheck.
Armando, when we get back, I want to ask you if the reason why they have so much power over us, over you, is because of our own ignorance, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Next Step Show with the conservative New Yorker here on the Voice of Liberty. Mira, no te vayas, and don't forget, 346-3000. We'll be right back.
Yes, and 1-866-552-1009. Armando's hanging on the line. He'll be back after the break, and you can join in too. So give us a call. We got lines open for you here on Next Steps with Peter Vasquez on the Voice of Liberty.
Soros Free Talk Radio.
WYSL.
Avon, Rochester. WLEA WCKR FM Parnell.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. We've got some showers going on with a transition to mixed precipitation and snow south of the Thruway. Tonight it's going to get down to 25 degrees and a Lake Erie snowband will develop, but by 7 a.m. tomorrow it will only be leaving minor accumulation for Rochester with 1 to 2 inches south of the Thruway and 2 to 4 inches in Wyoming County. This is meteorologist Nate Morris for the Voice of Liberty.
Canisteo Valley Update.
The Steuben County Legislature has waived the fee for taking the civil service exam. Nathan Alderman from the Steuben County Personnel Office says about 500 to 600 people a year take that exam in Steuben County. Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard.
I never understood why we had a fee to apply for a civil service job. Anything that makes it easier in this day of struggling with recruitment and retention to be able to make it less expensive for a person to even apply, I'm in favor of.
That's Sheriff Allard. In other Steuben County news, County Election Commissioners Vicki Olin and Kelly Haruski are in the process of being reappointed. Olin is the Republican County Commissioner, Kelly Haruski the Democrat. This move was approved yesterday by the County Administration Committee and still has to be okayed by the full Steuben County Legislature. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
WYSL, Merry Christmas.
Have a historic holiday season at Genesee Country Village and Museum when you attend the annual Holiday Open House on Sunday, December 22nd. Stroll the historic village bedecked in holiday finery and see villagers bustling with preparations for the cold months ahead. Experience traditional music, sample tasty treats, and see holiday celebrations of the past. Plus, wrap up your holiday shopping in the museum's Flint Hill store with handcrafted goods from the historic village, museum merchandise, locally made products, and more. Details and tickets online at gcv.org.
At Walker Metalsmith's Celtic Jewelry, we have more elves than ever before.
I can gift wrap as good as any elf. Well, I actually make jewelry. That makes me even elfier.
No, I'm elfier.
That's not even a word. Well, I'm new. Can I be an elf too? Are the postal workers and delivery driver elves? They work hard to help out.
In December, we're all elves.
I don't really identify as an elf. You aren't going to hold that against me, are you?
You can be a reindeer or leprechaun or whatever, as long as you're down with Team Santa.
Team Santa! Yay!
The Walker Metalsmiths elves have been making all of our regular awesome jewelry, but even more new stuff that is even awesomer.
Is Steve Walker Santa?
No, dear. Steve just helps Santa out.
Walker Metalsmith's workshop is right on Main Street in
Christmas Village?
the village of Andover. Holiday hours are 9 to 6 weekdays, 10 to 4 Saturday, or anytime at walkerscelticjewelry.com.
FM Talk. Wednesdays at the Italian Villa in Hornell. The original all-you-can-eat pasta night at the Italian Villa. Your choice of pasta, sauce, meat with Villa house salad and Italian bread. Let the Italian Villa help you do the cooking. To reserve a table or order ahead of time, call the Italian Villa 607-324-6063. See the entire menu at ItalianVillaOnline.com. Italian Villa open Wednesdays 2 to 8, Thursdays and Fridays 2 to 9, Saturdays 3 to 9, Sundays 2 to 7, closed Monday and Tuesday. The Italian Villa.
There are lots full of cars, trucks, and SUVs, so choosing the right vehicle can be intimidating. But finding a great auto loan rate is simple. During the Advantage Auto Loan Rate Sale, rates are as low as 4.99% APR. Refinance your existing auto loan with another lender, and you could save every month too. The Advantage Auto Loan Rate Sale with rates as low as 4.99 APR are for a limited time. Go to AdvantageFCU.org today. Membership subject to eligibility, member NCUA, limited time offer.
The angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which will be to all people. For there is born to you this day in the city of David a Savior, who is Christ the Lord." And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace, goodwill toward men." Merry Christmas from the Ryan Agency.
Peter Vasquez and Next Step Show on the WYSL stations.
Welcome back to the Next Step Show, ladies and gentlemen. Si soy yo, the conservative Nuyorican. Armando, thank you for hanging with us on the phone, senor.
Yeah, thank you for letting me be on today. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get together after the first of the year. We'll know who our elected representatives are in Washington, D.C. and New York State. And maybe we can politely twist their arms to do the right thing. What do you think, Peter?
But, I think that would be a phenomenal plan. Although, again, twisting arms of these politicians, it's just like, why aren't they just doing what they're supposed to be doing? But Armando, before break, I had asked about... it seems sometimes that this power that they're trying to exert over us is a result of our own ignorance, of our own allowance, I guess, of that power being exerted over us. I mean, listen, I've been on my own since I was 15 because I couldn't stand mom and dad telling me what to do.
I hear you, and you're absolutely right about that, because ignorance is not stupidity. It's not knowing. You can learn. And that's why they took civics out of our schools. I would love to be able to do some type of civics program with the basics so that people that are approaching 18 years of age will at least have some knowledge about the parties, some knowledge about the issues that they're going to have to vote on, and then how those issues affect them when they go out to the work world, when they go to college. And we're ignorant of all that. You're absolutely right, Peter, and it's not by accident.
No, it's not. So let me ask you, because you're a tax guru, I would say, right? Just short of an expert, or would you consider yourself a tax expert?
Please don't call me names. I figure an expert is somebody that was pert and they lost it. That's why they're called expert. I used to be better informed about 15 years ago, and I kind of gave it up. I still do my own, though. So ask me a question.
So the question is in regards to the budget that the county passed last night, a $1.5 billion budget, while cutting property taxes. Give me your opinion on that, if you don't mind.
Well, like you guys were saying, if both parties are in favor of it, there's probably something wrong. And what they usually do, from my experience, is that they'll hide the rate somewhere in all the thousands of words that they use to write a bill. So if the assessed value goes down, the rate goes up, and the net difference is a positive for the county. But they get to go out and tell everybody, well, we cut your rate. And it sounds good, but it's half of a lie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Very much so. Now, if I understand it correctly, even with this budget, they're still looking at a forecasted $59.8 million or something like that budget gap by 2027. Did I understand that correctly? Have you had a chance to look at the budget? I know I'm cornering you on some of these questions.
I have not, and unfortunately, I live in Ontario County now.
Let me jump in and let me posit something. The problem is their spending.
Yes.
The spending is always the problem. There's never a revenue problem. Governments in the United States are collecting record taxes. It's the spending.
But wait a minute. They're saying that this spending is like one of the most needed spendings around.
Oh, always,
for things like establishment of a centralized arraignment court part, right? Which enhances the sheriffs and the regional investigators.
There may be a need for that, and that's fine. But no, you're going to find it where it really comes down is in social programs.
But that's what all these are for the most part. I mean, I get we got to strengthen public safety, but workforce development and economic, again, Armando, I know you live in Ontario County, and I know I didn't invite you to be on the guest to talk about budgets and stuff like that. But what's eating at me is that none of this stuff is talking about things that affect us directly and can change our society by simply looking at cultural shifts. I mean, like what you're trying to propose, or what you proposed, the whole elimination of the payroll tax.
Mm-hmm. I guess the best way I would try to address this is with every budget, there's a line item for employment costs. And I'm willing to bet that most of those costs go up first. So the need for the money gets pushed down to the lower end of that sheet. So people, they take what they need first to make a paycheck. And then if there's something left over, it usually goes to the cause. And then sadly, people are going to get mad at me, but that's one of my biggest complaints too about nonprofits. There's no risk. They have nothing to lose. When you go into business for yourself and you make a mistake with a decision, you go out of business. But you still owe the bank. You still owe investors. There is no risk for a county clerk to screw up with our money. They don't lose their job. Why? Why is that? If there was risk that they're going to fail and lose their source of income, they'd make better decisions. Guaranteed.
But according to Governor Hochul, and you probably heard this as well, one of the things she's pushing for is an increase in wages for state employees across the board because they're not being paid enough for the work that they're doing. Which, again, shows, at least in her opinion, that everybody in government is doing great and should be rewarded even more, even though the rest of us are struggling.
If you're not happy with your paycheck at a place of employment, get another job. Go find another job where you'll get paid what you think you're worth. It's very possible that the person that wants more money may not be worth it. And I'm going to add something to that Hochul thing, because I heard her say something about if you're wronged by a business, that they're going to have a path for you to take so that you could get some of your money reimbursed to you.
Yeah, I heard that.
The government's going to step in and be big brother. And then the first thought that came to my mind, can you do that for government agencies too?
That'll never happen.
No.
If I'm wronged by a government agency that I'm paying to do what's best for our community and they mess up, can I get reimbursed?
Wouldn't that be an outstanding resolution and would really lead to a lot of these silly things being. Hey, one more question for you, Armando. Again, since I got you on the line, I might as well ask you, because I know you've been paying attention to a lot of these payroll things. Wages are set to go up yet again. Outside of New York City, I believe we're going to be at $15.50 minimum wage starting this January 1st, and then $16 starting in 2026, and then after that adjusted for inflation. But as we've seen since this whole thing started happening, cost of living just continues to rise, and really no one's benefiting here, though. So my question for you, sir, in the work that you do, how are people, how are we accepting this as a means, and really?
Yeah, do we vote for this?
We'll go back to what you said about the ignorance. So I think we're accepting it not only by accident, but through our own ignorance. Because I've explained to people being in business, if you raise minimum wage, everybody's paycheck above minimum wage goes up as well. It's impossible to give the dishwasher in the restaurant $16 an hour and pay the number one cook $17 an hour. It ain't going to happen because that cook is going to walk.
But that's what we're struggling with. I can tell you, I run a relatively large nonprofit. I have about 11 staff members. I need to hire some more. And the biggest issue that I'm running into, even with a maintenance worker job, is pay. Doesn't matter how great our benefit is. Hey, you got one more minute, Armando. See, you called. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you will not be held hostage like I'm holding Armando hostage. Can you hang on another minute?
Yes.
We'll be right back right here in the Next Step Show, ladies and gentlemen. No te vayas. Sí, La Voz de Libertad rocks.
And mercy mile, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise. Join the triumph of the skies. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Escape to enchanting moments at Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Treat your loved ones to the gift of a winter romance package, or unwind with our relaxing Stay Well Spa package, or the gift of a pampering spa service, or simply give the gift of choice with a Woodcliff Hotel and Spa gift card. Create magical memories. Visit Woodcliff Hotel Spa /winter to purchase the gift of comfort, tranquility, and peace this holiday. Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, where winter dreams make the merriest gifts.
Keep your vehicle in. For quality, affordable vehicle service, rely on Rock Auto Service, 1132 Westridge Road. Rock Auto has what your car, truck, or SUV needs. Oil change, brakes, suspension, alignments, exhaust, air conditioning, and tires. Check their Google reviews as one of Rochester's best for customer satisfaction. Owner and U.S. Army veteran Dave Harris welcomes military service personnel and veterans. Rock Auto Service, 1132 Westridge Road, just east of Mount Reed, 434-5010.
Peter Vasquez and Next Step Show on the WYSL stations.
And the program proudly brought to you every day by Flower City Collision. Get it done right. Get it done by a veteran. Veteran-owned and operated business. And Rock City Auto for auto repairs. Get your vehicle, your ride, all ship-shape for wintertime. Westridge Road near Mount Reed. Again, here's Peter.
And you should always shop our local sponsors all the time, ladies and gentlemen. See, take that as a 2025 challenge from your conservative Nuyorican. Anglo Twin right on Rumble says AOC wants to be on the oversight committee because the House of Representatives is too tall for her to see over it without scaffolding or
waka,
scaffold.
waka.
Yeah. Thank you for your comment, Anglo Twin. Armando, thank you for hanging on with us.
No problem.
You could send your bill to WYSL. How about that? Thanks, Bob.
I'll send it to another radio station. We'll give you the address off air.
No, there you go. There you go. You mentioned ignorance, right? But let me ask you something. because the situation with wages, right? I mean, and the trickery behind the politics and this whole political ideology, one way or another, seems to have infected our society so much that I think that most people, and I'm talking about the people that they know that have to go to work every day to pay bills, right? They don't have the time to go and research the details of how some of these things impact you, right? But what would be, right, instead of raising minimum wage, what do you think about something like direct payments to employers, right, where employers receive financial support from government to cover the portion of wages paid to lower wages? Is that any better?
I don't see how. My opinion about financial support in general is that it should always be paid back, so there's money to be reused for somebody else's financial support. So if you're talking low interest loans, that makes sense. Grants make no sense to me whatsoever. So people have to be able to pay back what they've borrowed, so other people will have money to borrow. And again, going back, Peter, I don't know how young you were back when this took place in the Carter years, but I've seen this all before. And it's happening again. If you go back and study history, it's happened throughout the decades prior to even there being an America. So what I'm thinking is happening, and going back to the good and evil and the ignorance, there are people taking advantage of that, what I would call the wave. You know, you look at the ocean and there's waves, and there's always that little dip in the waves, and then another wave comes. So there are people that are managing our finances on a grand scale that know it's just a matter of time before things catch up. And if we get more money in our pocket and interest rates go down, we're going to be happy for a period of time. So it's almost like we're being played.
Not almost like it, Armando. We are being played. And I guess, you know, I'm taking this tone of ignorance myself because I want people to think about this. I want people to sit back and challenge some of the narratives that are out there. It's easy to sell kumbaya all day long, right? I mean, it even jives. But I guess when we miss the boat on discussions like, you know what, let's enhance financial literacy classes and requirements in our schools. Let's talk about community-based entrepreneurships. You know, one of the things that I've been working on, and it was part of my platform, was an entrepreneurs hub right over at the county clerk's office. To me, that just seems like better solutions at reducing the rate of taxes, at reducing the rate of crime. Would you agree with that? Or again, am I kumbaya land here?
No, 100%. I agree with you 100%. Even on the high school level, I think, first of all, students should be learning how to put some of their paycheck aside. They should be learning how to read that paycheck stub so they know where all those monies and all those words next to the money, like FICA, what they mean. They should know that stuff. That should be taught to our youth. But we don't teach them that. Instead, we try to give them a debit card or a credit card, and they won't even know what a statement looks like. That's insane.
That is very much.
It's only helping the people on the other end of that transaction.
You know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Every single one of those billboards on the highway that has the Mega Million and the Powerball and how much it's worth and all that. If every one of those were replaced with something simple, right, that says, in case you didn't know, 1 + 1 = 2, or 1 × 1 = 1, right?
Yes, 1 is 1.
Yes.
I mean, I'm being silly, But see, when I talk about it, and if you heard a little bit in the beginning of the show and recent shows, you know, I keep saying to heck with political ideology, and I guess that's what I mean. I get that there's Republicans, Democrats, there's got to be friction in order for there to be growth. I get all that. People have to be held accountable, but the problem is we have had so much. Well, there's been so much rift that I think what's happened is that one side has compromised to the other side. And now what we have is trickery, right? We have budgets that come out that say, we're reducing your property rates while increasing spending 5%. Well, first of all, you're increasing a lot more than that if you go back just a couple of years. And second of all, who is it really helping? Armando, I really appreciate your time, sir. Sir, how can someone get a hold of you if they wanted to get involved? I assume you're still doing many of the initiatives you were working on before with in the tech stuff?
I'm doing that. I'm also helping out with AMAC in the 24th Congressional District. And if you're familiar with AMAC, there are a bunch of older people like me that are conservative. And we're trying to keep an eye on what's going on here in New York State as well as Washington, D.C. So you can call my cell phone, 944-0588. And we need all kinds of people to help and at least talk to our elected representatives. So that's where I'm coming from. The more voices, the better it is for them to hear us.
Real quick, AMAC is the alternative to AARP, correct?
Correct.
I'm a proud member, by the way. I think it's great.
Me too.
And is there a website for AMAC? Because AARP is already reaching out to me, and I know I don't want to be part of it.
Don't do it.
There is a website. I think it's amac.us, I believe it is. So if that doesn't work, if .us doesn't work, try .org.
O-R-G. All righty, ladies and gentlemen. Armando, that was Armando.
It's AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens. It's amac.us.
Thank you, Armando. I appreciate the call, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a call. Check out amac.us, a better option to AARP for people like me that are reaching that age and catching up to some others in this room.
Thanks, Armando. Appreciate the call.
Absolutely. I gotta have him in studio again here shortly, and I'll definitely we'll make that happen here pretty soon. You know, we've been talking about the county's budget, minimum wage stuff. Let me just give you a quick overview in the last minute, just so you know exactly what was in there. There were several parts to it. Here, real quick. In the county executive's message, he says he's excited for reducing property rates down to $6.03 per thousand, lowest in county history. Republicans are taking credit for that as well. Financial strategies here is to focus on, or some of the drivers are payroll benefits, public assistance like Medicare and child care, as well as contractual services. They plan to use a fund balance of $39.7 million allocated amongst different categories: public safety investment, public health and wellness, to include a hotline, more naloxone distribution, which is an unfortunate reality. They've got economic workforce development in there, expecting the creation of 57 jobs from Genesee Brewery, 212 jobs from Top Golf, because guess what? Most of you aren't going to be able to afford to go there anyway, so you might as well work there. Amongst other initiatives, economic workforce, I mentioned now sustainability and environmental initiatives. Sounds a lot like climate to me. Veteran services, capital infrastructure. Listen, check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Read through it. Make sure you're informed, because guess what? There is another election, local election, coming up just next year. Mira, yo lo digo all the time. Be a leader, be a leader, be a leader, and you can be a leader by sponsoring the Next Step Show. See, 346-3000 is all you got to do. Hey, never forget, see aquí in the WYSL station, see La Voz de Libertad. Don't forget, we always love ya. And hey, check it out. God bless these United States of America.
No soy niño empedernido, no me busques, te lo pido. Reconoce que el amor llegó esta vez. Soy cara de niño, con alma de hombre. Quiero amarte para siempre, pero tú no me respondes. Soy cara de
Updike's Willow Ridge Quality Care Facility in Hornell